Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys this Halloween franchise info session. So, pretty much what this is going to be is I'm going to talk about some information that has to pertain with the Halloween franchise, talk about some facts about what the best box office draw was, what the worst one was, talk about stuff like that, give some background to it, and then I'm also going to give you guys like some opinion stuff, my favorite kills, my least favorite kills, my favorite characters, least favorite characters, and my favorite and least. And I'm gonna go over my rankings. I'm gonna go over the what I thought was the best and the worst films. So pretty much it's gonna be all of that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to include anything from the new Halloween because I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to be watching that tomorrow. I just haven't. I was gonna go watch it last night, but then what happened is my plans didn't go through, so I'm gonna go see it tomorrow. I don't know when I'll have that review up. I'm gonna plan on having that up soon. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. I just haven't had the time. Um, and I will say that I do regret that I didn't do as part of my Halloween movie review series. I didn't do Halloween this year. I did it last year. Um, but that's mainly because I didn't know Halloween was going to come out this year. If I had known, I would have done the ones I'm doing now last year, and then obviously I would have done Halloween this year. But how could I have known that um, Halloween was coming out this year? I mean, there was no way I could have known. But I don't think I even found out until after I had done it already, so it was really no way I could have known. But I'm gonna go based off memory. I tried to make time to sit down and watch it, but I just never had the time to rewatch the films again. But feel like I've seen the films, and I watched them a year ago, so we'll have to wait and see how this goes. So let's talk about let's go over this info session. Let's see how well this works. Um, so the first film came out, which was the first Halloween, on October 25th, 1978. Um, and obviously, that was a pretty big day in um, horror slasher movie history because it really launched slasher and horror films up. It was one of the biggest original horror movies, so it's a pretty big day right there. The latest film that came out, obviously, the what I have written down is August 25th, 2009, which is that terrible Halloween 2, 2009 remake. But obviously, now the most recent one came out um, Thursday or Friday, mainly Thursday because they showed a preview of it on Thursday. And the movie that had the most budget behind it, the movie that had the most money going into it, was actually Halloween H20. 20 years later, it had a $17 million budget. I remember looking this up at the time and being fairly surprised because I thought it would have been one of the remakes because I know Rob Zombie put a lot of money into that. But no, it was actually Halloween H20. 20 years later, I was actually fairly surprised about that. And then we have the movie that had the least budget, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It had a $2.5 million budget, which you can kind of see when you watch the film. I would have thought it was going to be the first couple Halloweens, but it was actually this film. So yeah, it was actually this film. I thought that was fairly interesting. But the movie that had the highest box office draw, this obviously may change considering how this film works, but it was actually the Halloween remake from 2007. It had an $80.2 million box office draw, which is very good. It's obviously very sad because a lot of people probably felt gypped when they watched that film because it wasn't a good film, but it had the most money. I guess because it was the first time that Halloween was coming out since 2002. Um, so maybe all the Halloween fans wanted to see that film, but it did really well in the theaters. I was fairly surprised. But the one that did the least, I would have thought it would have been Halloween 3 Season of the Witch since it didn't have Michael Myers in it. And all the people and everybody would have been pissed about it. But it wasn't Halloween 3. It was actually Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. It only did It only did $11.6 million in box office. Don't really know why that is. I don't know if it reached other competition because sometimes that happens in the film. That's why Jason Takes Manhattan for Part 8 didn't really do very well because it had other competition. Could have been a reason. Maybe because the film didn't look very good. Because I remember this is one of the weaker Halloween films. So I don't really know why this one did the worst in box office. But sometimes in films you can't really go based off the box office. All right, now I'm going to talk about. Now this gets to the opinionated side of things. Um, I'm going to talk about what I think are the best and the worst Halloweens to watch. Now I've had to update this list um, because I did go rewatch some of them again, and when I made this list originally, I was kind of like, yeah, maybe this actually belongs here and here. So this is going to be a little different from the reviews. I'm gonna go from worst to best, just because I know that's how people do it. Now, the worst Halloween film is Halloween 2, the remake, from 2009. This film is awful. This is probably one of the worst movies I've ever watched. Actually, it is the worst movie I've ever watched. But I'm probably gonna one day watch a movie that's worse than this, which I'm afraid what that film will look like. But yeah, I thought this film was awful. It didn't use the old Halloween theme song because Rob Zombie didn't think it was gonna fit, which is really stupid. It had a lot of dumb um, lines in it when, like, Laurie Strode um, did the whole thing where she duct taped her friend to the chair and cut her throat and chanted, "Die, you fucking cunt," and had like this weird dream realization. That was really bad. Laurie Strode's character was awful in this film, um, which is really sad because obviously Laurie Strode was like one of the best characters in the Halloween films. Not in the remakes. She's actually one of the worst. Um, then you have Michael Myers actually talk at the end, which is awful, and he doesn't even wear his Halloween mask half the time. He looks like an old homeless hermit, and he doesn't. He half of the film is him walking to try to attack Laurie Strode. You have Dr. Loomis act like an asshole to everybody and want to be like a best American sold author. That was bad. Um, you had the first 15 minutes just be contained with nothing but blood and gore just to find out it was a nightmare sequence. So the first 15 minutes are just a waste. Um, it was just really, it was just a really bad film. I could literally name more. You had Sheriff Brackett go. I think that's his name. Sheriff Brackett go into the room and see and see his daughter just be murdered and stuff. The quality looks awful. It's just not a good film. So that's how I feel about that. That's a bad film. By the way, I do have to mention that I'm probably going to be interrupted in a second, so I'm probably just going to piece this and make this and edit this into 2 videos. So I don't really think I need to mention that, but yeah, this film is a really bad film. Avoid this at all costs. This is an example of Rob Zombie trying to do his own thing with something and just not working. And then obviously the second worst one is Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Now I don't just hate this film just because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. I just don't think it's a good film. My friend brings up a great point though. They wanted to make this an annual. They wanted to originally make the Halloween franchise an annual, once in a year type of franchise where it was going to be a different story every time. But then why would you make the second film a sequel to the first one? Because then everyone was expecting Michael Myers to come back. But they made it a sequel to the first one. It was that was stupid because then everyone expected this film to contain Michael Myers in it. So I thought that was a very good point that nobody really brings up. My friend makes a lot of those good points. But I don't like this film. I don't like the story. You know, you have the owner, Cochran, I believe his name was, sell these Halloween masks, and when they're gonna watch this commercial, their heads dissolve into bugs and snakes, and Cochran said that he did all this for witchcraft, and that's very illogical. I mean, I guess people want to do crazy things for witchcraft, but it's like, um, he kills his loyal customers just for witchcraft, hurting his company. He killed his most loyal worker that was selling all of his Halloween masks. I think he had like the top. He was like the top seller in his company. That made no sense. You have an unlikable character in um, Dr. Daniel Chalice, who is just an absolute alcoholic, doesn't care about his kids, and um, takes advantage of young women and has sex with them. Um, and it's got some awful kills in this movie. You have the killer robots, and it's just not really. It's just not a good film. I don't think. I don't think it's good, and I hate it. Then you have that awful commercial that um, where it says 8 more days till Halloween, and yeah, it's just not a good film. And then you have the next one is Halloween 2007. See, it's movies like this that I think made Halloween 2018 have to be a thing. Obviously, it was more movies like Halloween 2009, but this was the remake of Halloween from 1978. And I gotta be honest, I don't even like remakes. I've said this before. I think if you're making a remake, you just have no other new ideas to bring to the table. What's the point of making a remake? Halloween, I mean, you could say, well, this is to update the movie to today's standards, blah, 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 but I don't think. Um, oh, I'll be right back. All right, so I'm just going to pick up where I left off. I left off talking about Halloween 2007. Why I think that's the third worst film in the franchise. So this film's not particularly good. It does have the same elements, and it does have one of my favorite kills of all time in in this film. So it's not a total bust, but I thought this film really did a bad job. It really humanized Michael Myers because it tried to going through his backstory about why he's a killer, and you have just like again the blood and the gore. Just I thought was unnecessary, and I just don't particularly think this is really a good remake either. It was Rob Zombie trying to put his touches on the Halloween franchise, and it just wasn't particularly good. You had, I mean, if you watch this, you actually kind of sympathize with Michael Myers. Like, yeah, if you lived in this type of lifestyle, I'd be a fucking murderer too, you know. With the his mother's boyfriend being um you know um abusive, with his sister being very slutty and neglecting Michael Myers, and then his mother trying everything she can, but obviously works his job as a stripper. It's just, yeah, not really particularly a good film. Um, and this is one that did the highest box office rated. But like I said, sometimes you can't. Well, all the time you can't go based off the box office rating. I just don't particularly think this is a very good film. Um, you have Laurie Strode, who is completely different than what she was in the original. She is like one is just the typical. What made Laurie Strode special was she wasn't like all the other teenage girls in the film. Um, you know, yeah, well, she wasn't particular. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought, but she was unique. But in this film, it was not the case. And then you have Michael. Oh, it's just this film's just not particularly good either. Um, and then Michael Myers finally has a chance to kill Laurie Strode, and he just fucking sits there. And then you have, I don't know. There is some good things about this film. I always think when you watch these films, the Dr. Loomis Michael Myers dynamic, no matter who plays it and stuff, um, I think that dynamic works really well. It was kind of nice to see Michael Myers, um, you know, actually go through the mental hospital transition. So that was kind of a nice touch that they did. I did like I said, it has one of my favorite kills of all time. Um, and it's not a total bust, but it's not particularly a good film either. And then you have I sprayed a bunch of accent here, and it making me cough a lot. Then you have the next one, Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers. This one is, what the fuck is this? So this one is not as this is probably actually no, I skipped ahead. I'm sorry. Um Halloween Resurrection. That's the next worst one. This one's, what the fuck is this? So the best way to describe this film is you can pretty much just watch the first 15 minutes when Michael Myers goes to kill Laurie Strode and then shut off the rest of the movie. Everything else is bad. Buster Rhymes is bad. Um, yeah, Buster Rhymes is bad in this film. Um, who else is bad in this film? Um, the main character is just not very developed. Um, my Pretty much the entire film is um a web series based off everybody trying to look through Michael Myers' house. And obviously, you find out that they set up all that stuff that's in there, obviously, except Michael Myers is actually there. But it's just, yeah, I mean, it was just Buster Rhymes trying to do his ninja attacks on Michael Myers just did not fit. This movie probably maybe would have been better if it came out like in today's era, because this was in 2002 when internet and webcams and stuff weren't huge yet, so it just was really bad. And why the fuck would this be a web series? You would think, because of how big of an icon Michael Myers is, that um, he would be, um, you know, that they would have put this shit on television, but I guess not. And then you have everybody go to a party and they're sitting down and watching the this web series, which isn't fucking realistic at all, because um, Michael Myers, because at a party, no, everybody just wants to drink and have sex and do drugs and not fucking sit around and watch a web series. That was just really stupid. But what else is bad in this film? Some of the kills are done fairly well in this film, so that you guys get that. I think I don't. This isn't this isn't the worst film, just because based on the fact that you could just pretty much watch the first 15 minutes. That's just pure gold right there. I think it's awesome. Um, However, I will say though that that's also a problem too, that they killed off the most likable. They killed off Laurie Strode, one of the the big icon movie people in this film within the first 15 minutes. They could have done so much shit. You still could have had like Laurie Strode try to warn everybody not to go to the house. And yeah, so this was pretty much the last appearance of Laurie Strode. It was just this was not a good film. Um, I could just literally name every bad thing about this film. It's just not particularly that good. Some of the kills are done very well though, and like I said, the first 15 minutes are worth watching. Then you have Halloween. Then you have Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers. Um, this film's not good. Um, well, this film's not good, but it's kind of like in the middle for me. I don't particularly think this is a good film. Um, I would say because it has that whole cult of Michael Myers thing, where they tried to make it seem like Michael Myers was like this demon from hell, and that's why he does all this killing. You have the thorn thing on that's tattooed on him, um, and you know you have like that dog figure that tries to get Danny um, to like come to the dark side, and yeah, they pretty much implied that they had Jamie. What's her name? I forget her name because it's been a while since I've seen. They tried to imply that they had um, Jamie Lloyd and Michael Myers have sex. Um, I did, but so it was just, eh. Then Michael Myers, the cult thing meant nothing because Michael Myers just killed them all anyways. It was cool, but it meant nothing. Obviously, they cut that part from the scene. Um, they filmed an original ending, and then they didn't make it to theaters, so they went with that, which was pretty bad. Um, yeah, it was just not a particularly good film. but it does have some good stuff in it. This is the last. I feel like I don't rank this as low because um, this is the last film. Um, this is the last film that Dr. Loomis, who's played by Donald Pleasance, is in. Obviously, originally, because Donald Pleasance passed away shortly after this, which you can kind of see that he was on his deathbed because he wasn't in this film as much. But I thought that was some real dedication. Michael Myers does do some good kills in this film, so it's not particularly a total bust. Um, but yeah, we didn't really get to see much of Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers really be together that much in this film. I guess it's implied that Michael Myers killed Dr. Loomis because um, we hear him scream at the end. So I guess that's implied. So whatever. This film's not all that bad, but it's not all that good. Then you have the film that ruined the franchise, Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers. This film isn't particularly all that good either. Um, yeah. Where do I begin with this? This has pretty much ruined the Halloween franchise. This film could have been made so much better. This was coming off the heels of Jamie Lloyd killing her mother, and we thought so many things were going to happen from that. But it ended up being just a total bust. It killed off, I forget her name, but her sister in the beginning of the film. And we had to deal with that terrible Tina Williams character, which is like one of the worst characters in Halloween's franchise history. Then we had to, then they did this weird telepathy thing where Jamie Lloyd was able to sense that Michael Myers was about to kill somebody. They go to the Michael Myers house, and that scene wasn't particularly done all that well. They do that terrible scene with Jamie Lloyd having Michael Myers take his mask off, and he starts to cry and stuff like that. It was pretty bad. It takes forever for Michael Myers to kill people. This film was just a total bust. This film could have been done so much better. And I can see why this film was like one of the lowest box office rated, because this ruined the franchise, because they had to explain a lot of things that happened in this film in Halloween 6. So this ruined Halloween 6. My friend likes this film. It's his favorite film, and I don't really understand why. I don't really say anything about it. I just kind of bite my tongue. But I don't really understand why he, doesn't like this film. I mean, why he loves this film. I really don't. It's not good. Then now we have the top 4 films. Which I would say, if you want to watch any Halloween, these are the ones you want to watch. Number 4 is Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. This is a good film. I like this film. I thought it was a nice way to bring back Michael Myers. I liked the introduction of Jamie Lloyd's character. And some of the kills are done really well in this film. And yeah, I think it's a good film. Dr. Loomis coming back and trying to save everybody from Michael Myers is really awesome. Michael Myers going on top of the truck and killing everybody. Yeah, I think this is a good film. I think I would definitely recommend giving this film a watch, especially the ending. The ending really makes the film, which is why now that if I watch it back now, it's a disappointment because Michael Myers, Jamie Lloyd kills her mother, and then we were kind of wondering what's going to happen now with Jamie Lloyd. What are they going to do with Jamie Lloyd? And then we got nothing out of it. It was we got that crappy Halloween 5 shit. But I still think this is a good film. Some of the things I don't like about this film is the way Michael Myers' mask looks really bad in this film. I would definitely say that's not particularly good. I'm trying to remember. I think it was just little things that I didn't like about this film, but I still think this is a good film. It's not perfect, it's not great, but I think it's a nice little watch. And then you have the best 3 of the series. Now, if you were to ask me, if Halloween had just been these 3 films, I would say it's a fantastic franchise. You have number 3, Halloween H20, 20 years later. Um, Obviously, this film had the most budget going into it. Um, but this is just a great. But I think this is a great film. It's Michael Myers going after Laurie Strode 20 years after everything that happened in the second film. Um, you have Laurie Strode struggling to cope with the fact that Michael Myers is dead. She keeps thinking she sees him everywhere. You can kind of see that she's not doing very well. You have her son, who she's trying to keep um, who she's trying to keep in line, and you have you know, this is the first film that doesn't have Donald Pleasance in it, but I still think it's done really well. Um, it kind of is a shame that Donald Pleasance didn't get to survive this, but you have Michael Myers come in, and you have that final confrontation with him and Laurie Strode. I think that's just awesome. And then Laurie Strode finally killing Michael Myers. Um, and yeah, it's just a fantastic film. I think it's awesome, actually. And then you have, I mean, I can't really do this film justice. I can't really explain how great this film is. Definitely give this film a watch. It's really good. It's really good. And then I would have to say too, that's why it's a real shame Resurrection was made, because this film did so well. They made a lot of money. That's why Resurrection. Maybe that's why I hate Resurrection too, because it's such a money grab film. Um, this one's not, because obviously we find out that Michael Myers actually, it wasn't Michael Myers she killed. It was a paramedic that Michael Myers um, like um, hurt his throat so that way he couldn't reveal that it was him. But still, it's still a really good film. It's just a really disappointment that it wasn't the last. This should have been the last one of the franchise, but it wasn't. Then you have the best two, Halloween 2 from 1981. Um, I think it's a really good film. I think it's a great film. I think Michael this takes place the same night um, as the first one, and Michael Myers just is continuing to go after Laurie Strode. He goes and kills everybody in the hospital. I like that a lot. Um, and finding out that Laurie Strode was actually Michael Myers' brother, I thought that was done really well. It has my favorite kill of all time in it. I think it's a great film. I really can't say anything. I really don't know what to say about it. I think it's overall a great film. Problems with it is there's really nothing wrong with it. It's just a great film. The best film, though, is obviously Halloween, the first one from 1978. Um, I think this one is just fantastic. I think it's a perfect film. Um, Michael Myers, it's the first appearance of him. I like the way that the tone's done really well. I like, Michael, that they continue to tease you that Michael Myers is going to kill someone, but he doesn't. I like that he's always kind of in the background. I thought that confrontation that him and Laurie Strode had was really done really well, and her stabbing him with a needle. Um, I just thought overall it's done really well. I think it's really. I think it's a fantastic film. Watch the film; it's fantastic. Halloween, the original, is fantastic. But that's pretty much my rankings for the films for Halloween. I'm gonna say them again because I messed them up. Halloween. So coming in at number 10 is Halloween 2 from 2009. Coming in at number 9 is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Coming in at number 8 is Halloween from 2007. Coming in at number 7 is Halloween Resurrection. Coming in at number 6 is Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Coming in at number 5, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Coming in at number 4, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And then coming in at number 3, Halloween H20, 20 years later. Coming in at number 2, Halloween 2, 1981. And coming in at number 1, Halloween 1978. So those are the best films. Now I think because I was having some fun, ranked the characters. I decided to do that. I ranked the characters from the Halloween. I'm going to start by saying the worst because you always start out that way. I kind of explained some of the reasons I didn't like, some of these characters already, but I'll just go through them. The worst characters, though, I just did it out of the top fives. Number 5 is Laurie Strode, who's played by Scout Taylor Compton. This is just not a good film. Sorry, she's just not a good character. Um, in the beginning she wasn't all that bad, but then when Halloween 2 happened, I talked about it too. She is struggling to cope with everything that happened. She has wicked PTSD, but she just comes off as very unlikable, um, and she's just not that good. So yeah, and it really isn't Scott Taylor Compton's fault. I don't think she did a bad Laurie Strode. It was just the way that her character was written and stuff. But then you have Ronnie, who's played by William Fortsworth. Um, Obviously, Ronnie is um, the abusive boyfriend of Michael Myers' mother in the remakes, and he beats Michael Myers. He's a drunk. He doesn't want to get a job. He claims he's hurt. Just very unlikable, and yeah, just really bad. I guess that was the point of his character, but it was just so unlikable where he had to make the list. And then we had Wendy Kaplan, who played Tina Williams. I mean, the fact that she had a big role in Halloween 5 was a joke. Um, she didn't even believe that Jamie Lee, Jamie, Jamie Lloyd was dealing with um, the Michael Myers stuff, even though that was the whole reason she was in a mental institute and stuff like that. It was just really bad. Then you had Freddie Harris as Buster Rhymes, number 2. He just didn't fit the Halloween franchise. He had to survive at the end. He had this terrible ninja stuff, and his lines didn't fit the film. So then my number one worst character was Dr. Daniel Chalice, who played by Tom Atkins. I've already kind of explained it. Why do you just go in the beginning of the video? I have to explain why I don't like his character. Then you have the best characters. Tommy Doyle, who's played by Paul Rudd. I believe this is the same guy in Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and then obviously the original. Um, I think he came off as like that perfect crazy guy in Halloween 6, and I like this character overall. Maybe he makes the Halloween Curse of Michael Myers better because he's very interested in learning about Michael Myers, so I think he's a good character. Then you have number 4, Jamie Lloyd, who's played by Daniel Harris. Um, Jamie Lloyd just does a really good. Daniel Harris just does a really good job playing Jamie Lloyd. I think her character was done really well. And yeah, I really like her character. Obviously, you know, um, her character was hurt by the writing, but overall, I still thought she did really well. Then you have Laurie Strode, who's played by Jamie Lee Curtis. She's the best opponent for Michael Myers. Um, just watching her transition throughout the films, from the first one all the way to the end, and then obviously we're going to see her again um, in this film. I think she just is really good. I think what makes Laurie Strode really interesting is because her character is just so unique from everybody else. Like I said, she doesn't look like everybody else. She doesn't act like everybody else, and you can kind of see that she was kind of that awkward girl in the franchise who had friends but didn't really. She was kind of separated from everybody else, and I think that made her a good opponent for Michael Myers. And I think that's why I hate the Laurie Strode in the remake, because it just isn't the Laurie Strode that we're used to in the originals. And then obviously seeing her 20 years later trying to cope with everything, I think is awesome. And I like the fact that she's going to be back um, in this one too. Even though her character is going to be a little different, obviously, because it's not going to be based off the other films, but I still think it's awesome. Then you have the second best person is Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance. Now I do like Dr. Loomis, who's played by I forget his name off the top of my head, but who's played by the guy that plays him in the remakes. I think he does a fine job being Dr. Loomis, but he's just not as good as Donald Pleasance. I think Donald Pleasance does a great job of playing Dr. Loomis as that crazy doctor, and I love the altercations that him and Michael Myers have with each other. I think he has a lot of great lines in the film. I think he acts very well in his films, and I think one thing you see throughout these films is Michael Myers wasn't just the only one that went crazy. Um, it was Donald Pleasance. I think Donald Pleasance made Michael. I'm sorry, it was Michael Myers made Dr. Loomis a little bit nuts, and I think that's just fantastic. So I think Dr. Loomis is very good, and then obviously you have Michael Myers, who's played by a number of people. I think Michael Myers, obviously, without him, this film franchise doesn't work, as it's proven in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. But I think Michael Myers, obviously, is just awesome. I don't really need to explain why. Now let's go over the. I made a kill list of what I think are the best kills and the worst kills. Some of them I had to recently look up again, so yeah. Um, so number 5 I put was Michael Myers kills Judith in Halloween 2007. I believe this was his sister, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I think I didn't like it because the original did it so well, where you didn't actually see him do it, and um, Rob Zombie just had to have all this blood and gore, just had to make it ridiculously over the top. So yeah, I didn't like it. Then I think then I put number 4. Michael Myers kills janitor in Halloween 2007, mainly because the janitor was actually helpful to Michael Myers and he drowns him in the water. And I think they did like something over the top where he just drowns him and then he threw him into something else. It was just, eh. And then you have Dr. Daniel Chalice kill Robot in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Um, this was pretty much exactly what is explained. Dr. Daniel Chalice kills the robot, and this big goop pops up right out of him, and it's just not very good. The special effects look really bad, so yeah. And then I picked all of the deaths in Halloween 2, 2009. So I remember all the deaths were done really bad. It was very over the top and very gory. I didn't like them. This is why I kind of wish I had watched the films this year instead, because I don't remember some of these deaths as well as I did. The Kupfer family dying from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This is the first time we actually see them watch the commercial, and the kid dies, and like the bugs and insects come out of him, and the wife faints, and the father gets bit by a snake. It was just, like I said, it didn't make any sense too, because this guy was Dr. Cochran's top seller, and it's just, yeah. Now let's go over the best kills. Honorable mention I put as Michael Myers kills Ronnie from Halloween 2007. When young Michael Myers duct tapes him to the chair and cuts his throat, and I thought that was awesome. I've been thinking it too because Ronnie just had that coming, so I thought that was awesome. And then obviously Jamie Lloyd kills her mom from Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. It's just an awesome kill. It really should have set the tone of what the Halloween films were going to be about in the future. And I just thought it was very a nice twist ending that we had at the end. Um, then you have 4. Laurie Strode kills Michael Myers in Halloween H2O 20 years later. Halloween H20, I should have said. Awesome kill. It really should have been the accumulation or climax, I should have said, when Laurie Strode actually kills Michael Myers. It should have been the end of the franchise. It would have been a hell of a way to end it. It would have been an ending that people would have talked about for years, but it didn't happen. Then obviously we have Michael Myers killing Laurie Strode in Halloween Resurrection. I, even though I might flip flop these two just because, but whatever. I remember I liked this kill because it was done really well. Michael, Laurie Strode dying, was done really well because, um, Laurie Strode, Michael Myers had been trying to kill his entire family for the whole franchise, and he finally got to Laurie Strode, and I just thought like the way where he throws her off the building after he stabs her right through the back, and um, Laurie Strode thinks when she's like when he's hating off the Finn, Laurie Strode thinks that he doesn't wants to be sure before she actually kills him that it actually really is Michael Myers, but then Michael Myers gets the upper hand on her, and it was just really suspenseful and really impactful. And like I said, it really um, makes the Halloween Resurrection not a completely bad film. It's still a really bad film, but then number 2, Michael Myers kills Kelly Miko from Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Um, I think this is why I rank some of these films high because they have a lot of great kills in them. This is done really well because um, Kelly Miko is going out there thinking that you know that Michael Myers um, well, she goes out there and the cops actually sitting out there like keeping guard with the gun with the shotgun, thinking that Michael Myers is gonna come in at any point. Then she comes in an office on some coffee, and when she turns on the when she lights the candle, we actually see that Michael Myers has killed the cop, and it's actually Michael Myers. I thought it was just a nice, smart way. It shows that Michael Myers isn't completely dumb, and it was actually very I thought a innovative kill, and then he kills her with the shotgun. Obviously, I thought it was just awesome. I thought it was done very well. Then I think the best kill is Michael Myers kills Nurse Karen from Halloween 2, 1981. Um, this is when he drowns her in the hot tub, and I just think the special effects look really well. The way he kills her, and I just think it's awesome. I really don't have anything else left to say about that. So I think it's just awesome. And then obviously that's pretty much my entire info session. I did start like a best moments list, but I couldn't really remember anything because obviously I've seen the film a year ago. So yeah, that's pretty much basically the entire um, info session. Halloween 2018. I can't wait to see that movie, and I'm really excited about it. Honestly, I'll post this list too in the description box so you guys can follow along with it if I remember, anyways. But or in the comments section. But if I had to say how do I think the Halloween franchise holds up, I think it holds up very well. I think it's a very awesome franchise, even though it's probably a little bit overrated maybe because it has a lot of bad ones in it, like obviously like the remakes, Season of the Witch, Resurrection, The Curse, and The Revenge are particularly good ones. But um, I do think that the ones definitely to check out are 1978, the first one, Halloween 2, 1981, The Return of Michael Myers, and H20. Um, obviously, I think what's cool about the Halloween franchise is you could really watch these in any order. You could watch, I think you have to watch the first one first, but then you could watch the second one, then the H20, and be fine. Or you could watch 4, 5, and 6. I guess you kind of have to, I guess, watch Resurrection. You really don't have to, but then you obviously you could just watch the two remakes, or you could just watch 3, and there you go. But yeah, Halloween. If I had to say how the Halloween franchise holds up, though, I would say I don't know if I think it's. I think it's better than the Friday the 13th franchise a little bit. I actually personally like that a little better, but it's not as good as the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I would say probably I like the even though probably a lot of people would think the Friday the 13th franchise is better. I think the Friday the 13th franchise is a very good franchise, but I think there's just so many of them. There's like what 12 of them. So I mean, I guess Halloween you could say is that way as well, but I mean, there's not as many of them, and there's not as many bad ones. There's a lot of bad Friday the 13th franchise, like, but that's not the video for this. I'll make a video about that maybe later, but yeah, um, that's that, and I can't wait to watch the new one. I'm gonna do a preview video for it, so yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video. Um, and I pretty much just put a close on the Halloween franchise. Where is Halloween 2018 gonna rank on this? Could it be in the top 4? Could it be the I don't in the middle? Could it be the worst? I don't think it's gonna get any worse than Halloween 2, 2009 or the Season of the Witch. I don't think they'll be as bad as the Rob Zombie ones. So I think that's a pretty safe bet. But if I had to predict, it will probably be. I'm gonna say it's gonna be in the top 5, going bold. So um, which I think it's going to be better than the Revenge of Michael Myers. So I'm excited, but I'm going to do a preview video for that. So that's pretty much the end of this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. Make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.